What's up, everyone? We're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now, if you watched yesterday's YouTube video, we did absolutely fantastic because we got 3 out of the 3 picks correct from yesterday's YouTube video. So we got 100%, and we're going to keep that streak going in today's video. However, I also did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and we actually got 21 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now, a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 2 picks wrong and got 21 right, which is a 95% win rate. Yes, guys, you heard that right. 95% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 95% win rate and get 21 picks right like me, win more bets, or receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $500 just yesterday. Another member who won $120 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Rashad Thomas 6528 who spammed up the money bag emojis, and shouts out to PJ Florida Vibes 8643 who said thank you as always, love hearing a second opinion. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to be talking about is none other than Napheesa Collier, and this one is for 9.5 rebounds, and this one actually is for less. So looking at someone like Napheesa, we have seen her do a fantastic job, so far this season, but she has gone on the under in 1 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking more intensely at that, we see on May 28th, faced off against Seattle, where she had 10 rebounds there. Then June 2nd, faced off against Golden State Valkyrie, where she had 11 rebounds. Then June 4th, against Phoenix, had 11 rebounds. Then June 9th, against Dallas, had 10. And then 9 rebounds against Seattle Storm again on June 12th. So we definitely have seen, a pretty good time for Collier when it comes to the rebounding sector. However, in this next game, we do like the under for it. Now, our average over the last 5 is 10.2, so slightly above this line. But when we look at Minnesota, they do face off against none other than the LA Sparks. Now, looking at both of these teams, we do know that Minnesota Lynx have definitely had a great start to the season. They currently actually rank 2nd in the WNBA, so they definitely put on quite a show. But looking more in-depthly, we do see that, Minnesota Lynx also have a 90% win rate. They've gone 4-0 at home and 5-1 in away games. Now, looking at their matchup, LA Sparks, we do know LA Sparks have definitely had a bit of a lackluster start to the season. However, we do see that LA Sparks do rank 10th, like we mentioned, with a 4-7 record. So they have 4 wins, 7 losses. Hasn't really been too well for the Sparks. And they currently have a 36.4% win percentage. So it's definitely been tough there. Now, they are currently 1-5 at home and 3-2 with away games. So definitely hasn't really been the best for them. So Sparks were surprisingly rank pretty well when it comes to rebounds allowed. However, we also do see that Napheesa Collier is a forward, and LA Sparks actually do a fantastic job at restricting, rebounds from her exact position. Now, we tend to see Napheesa Collier, play the forward position pretty much most of the game. You don't really see her move into any other position. And that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. We think Sparks are definitely going to apply the pressure and try to restrict her as much as they can. We do know as well Collier is a main player, and what we have seen with Sparks over the last couple of games is that they really do hone in and focus in on stars and try to restrict them as much as they can. So that's kind of been Sparks' defensive strategies over, the last couple of games. We definitely have seen them make some big defensive adjustments, and we definitely see that continuing on into this next matchup, no doubt about it. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for someone like Napheesa Collier in this situation. So Napheesa Collier, 9.5 rebounds for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Nneka Ogwumike. So, as you all know, Nneka is a fantastic player from none other than Seattle Storm, and this one is a fantastic one for actually points for 17.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Nneka, we've actually seen her go on the under, as we all know, in 4 out of the last 5 games. So, it hasn't really been too well for Nneka. We see on May 31st, faced off against Atlanta, had 16 points there. Then June 2nd, faced off against the Aces, had 9 points. Then 14 points against Dallas on June 4th. June 8th, faced off against Phoenix, had 13 points. And against Minnesota Lynx, had 21 points on June 12th. So it's definitely been an interesting time for none other than Nneka, as we have definitely seen her not really perform too well over the last couple of games, especially when it comes to the points department. Now, our average over the last 5 is 14.6 as well, so significantly below the line, which I do believe is definitely, something to be wary about as well. But coming into this matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one. And looking at Nneka, we do also see that Seattle Storm do face off against Golden State Valkyries. So, as you all know, looking at both of these teams, we did see that Golden State Valkyries and also Seattle Storm both rank pretty mid-tier. We see Seattle Storm rank a little bit higher. However, they do rank 5th in the WNBA with 6 wins and 4 losses. So, they've actually done a fantastic job there. 60% win rate as well. They have a 4-2 record and 2-2, away record as well. Then they face off against the Valkyries as well. And when we look at the Valkyries, we do see that Valkyries have a 4-5 record, 44.4% win rate. And on top of that, they also have a 2-2 home record and 2-3 away record. Now, Seattle Storm are currently on a 3-game win streak. Valkyries are on a 2-game win streak. So this game is very, very important, because whoever, wins this game is going to snap the other team's win streak, which I do believe, neither one of these teams do want. But looking at Golden State Valkyries, when it comes to points allowed defensively, we do see that they do rank 8th when it comes to points allowed. So, why do we like the under for this? Now, there's 2 main reasons for this. The first being that when we look at Nneka Ogwumike, her actual usage rate has definitely been on the lower side, and we are expecting that to continue on into this next game. She's definitely been in a little bit of a cold streak as of lately, and we don't really see that changing coming into this next matchup. We tend to see that Seattle Storm, although Nneka is a great player, they have been playing her, her usage rate especially a little bit differently than they did last season, and it just hasn't really translated that well. Of course, in the most recent game, she did go on the over, but we definitely see, that being a bit of an interesting one, because when we look at Nneka, we do also know that, obviously her strategy coming into this next season has definitely been a little bit different. But as we also know, the Golden State Valkyries do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists, however, to the actual forward position. So that is actually what Nneka does. I guess that's what her main position is. That's why we definitely see it affecting her usage rate coming into this next game. Now, looking at someone like, Nneka, we also are expecting the under, due to the usage rate, due to the Valkyries doing a great job against forwards. And with all those being said, we do very much like the under for this one. So for that reason, Nneka Ogwumike for 17.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than Dearica Hamby. So Dearica Hamby, great player from the LA Sparks, as we all know. And this one is for 17.5 points, and this one actually is for less. So looking at someone like Dearica Hamby for 17.5 points, we have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5. We see on May 31st, faced off against the Aces, had 14 points there. Then on June 2nd, faced off against Phoenix, had 15 points. Then 20 points against Dallas on June 7th. And then 20 points against Golden State Valkyries on June 10th, and then finished off against the Aces with 19 points on June 12th. So we definitely have seen a bit of an interesting time for, Dearica Hamby, because we have seen her go on the under 2 out of the last 5, and her average over the last 5 is also 17.6. So looking at this matchup, we do know that the LA Sparks do face off against Minnesota Lynx. So we do see that the Sparks do have a record of 4 wins and 7 losses. So, a pretty poor record there, and ranked them 10th. And then Minnesota Lynx on the other side of the table, because they have, a 9-1 record and actually rank 2nd. So Minnesota Lynx are a very, very strong team. And looking at Minnesota Lynx, they also do rank second when it comes to points allowed. And that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Although Dearica Hamby is a great player, as you all know, when it comes to, great defensive teams, especially like Minnesota Lynx, we tend to see, star players and especially someone like Dearica Hamby really do struggle. Some of the games where Dearica Hamby has definitely gone on the under has actually been against tougher defensive teams, especially when it comes to the points department. And that's a big reason why we do like the under for this. Yes, she may have had in the last couple of games be able to go on the, over. However, coming into this next one, we definitely see that changing. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for someone like Dearica Hamby coming into this matchup, because we definitely do like the under for this one. So for that reason, Dearica Hamby for 17.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. All right, so as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Odyssey Sims. Now, as you all know, Odyssey Sims is a great player for none other than the Los Angeles Sparks, and we have seen her do a fantastic job so far this season. Now, so far this season, she has actually averaged 10.5 points, 3 rebounds, 3.5 assists, while also getting 0.9 steals. So she has done a fantastic job there for Los Angeles Sparks, and Sparks find themselves in a very interesting matchup against the Minnesota Lynx. Now, this definitely is going to be an interesting game, because looking at both of these teams, we have seen Los Angeles Sparks haven't really had the greatest start to their season. They actually currently rank 10th in the WNBA with a record of 4 wins and 7 losses. So they have a 36.4% win percentage, so it hasn't really been too good for them there. And on top of that, they currently are 1-5 from home and 3-2 on the away games. Now, when it comes to Sparks, they obviously are trying to pull things around, but it is still very early on in the season and anything can really happen. And they face off against Minnesota Lynx, who are on the other side of the coin, because they actually rank second in the WNBA with 9 wins and 1 loss. So they have a 90% win percentage, 4-0 from home, 5-1 in away games, and they have honestly been fantastic, and most recently actually just got their first loss. So, Minnesota have definitely showed out coming, to the start of the season, and we are expecting that to continue on when it is coming in this game. Now, looking at a team like Minnesota Lynx, we have seen Minnesota Lynx rank second in points allowed. They also rank 5th in assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed, they do rank 4th. So for someone like Odyssey Sims coming into this matchup, now we are expecting her to go on the under due to Minnesota Lynx being such a fantastic defensive team. Minnesota Lynx have definitely caused a lot of problems, especially to the guard position. Minnesota do rank very well when it comes to restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the guard position, and we definitely see that being a huge factor coming into this. And the fact that Odyssey Sims doesn't really have the highest usage rate in this Sparks matchup and also in this team, we are expecting someone like Sims to play a bit more of a supporting and role-playing type role rather than anything. So for that reason, we definitely do like the under for this one. Now, looking at Sims's most recent games, we have seen on the 31st, on actually Saturday, we saw them face off against Las Vegas Aces, had a 96-81 loss. Actually had in that matchup 15 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 0 steals there. Then against Phoenix on the 2nd of this month, actually had an 85-80 loss. Had 32 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal. After that, they also faced off on the 7th against Dallas, where she actually had 19 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Then against Golden State Valkyries with an 89-81 overtime loss, where she had 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists and 2 steals. Then faced off against the Aces again in 22 minutes on the 12th and had 0 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. So it's definitely been an interesting time for someone like Odyssey Sims. Yes, she's had some games where she's played some big minutes and also has had, some big, sort of games. However, there are other games where she doesn't really do too well in her usage rate. And coming into this one, especially against a really tough Minnesota Lynx team, we are expecting her actually to go on the under here due to those reasons. So for that reason, keep an eye on for Odyssey Sims. Now, when it comes to points, rebounds, and assists, I don't really think you need to focus on a particular sort of line. I think, you know, someone like Odyssey has definitely the capability to go on the under in any three of these categories. So definitely keep an eye out for it. I definitely think it's going to be an exciting matchup there. But overall, keep it out for the line. If the line is too close to our averages, then definitely look to go on the under. Now, getting to the next player, we're going to be talking about none other than actually Natasha Cloud. So, as we all know, Natasha Cloud is a great player for none other than actual New York Liberty. And she's actually done a fantastic job during the regular season because we have actually seen her average 9.4 points, 3.8 rebounds, 6.2 assists, while also grabbing 1.9 steals. Sorry. So she has actually done a fantastic job there. Now, coming into this next game, New York Liberty do face off against Indiana Fever. Now, it's definitely going to be an exciting one, but looking at both of these teams, starting off with New York Liberty have been on an absolute tear. New York Liberty currently have a 9-win, 0-loss record, so they have been absolutely smoking teams out of the park because they have a 100% win rate, 5-0 at home, 4-0 in away, 9-game win streak. It's honestly been, you know, very interesting and surprising to see Liberty doing this well. And when we look at the other side of the table, we see Indiana Fever, who are a little bit struggling because Indiana Fever do find themselves in the 7th spot in the WNBA with 4 wins and 5 losses. So they have a 44.4% win percentage. So definitely not too bad, very average. Now, they obviously had a 2-3 home record and 2-2 in away. Now, obviously, coming into this game, you know, when it comes to both of these teams, you are expecting them both to play very hard, as both teams are definitely going to try to push to get this win, and Indiana are looking to try to break the 9-game win streak from New York Liberty. But looking at Indiana Fever, we do see that Indiana Fever do rank 3rd when it comes to points allowed, 1st when it comes to assists allowed, and when it comes to rebounds allowed, we see that they rank 11th. So we have actually seen, you know, Natasha Cloud do a great job throughout the regular season. Yes, that is true. However, coming into this game, we do very much like the under for this situation here, strictly just for points and assists. However, a big reason being is that when we look at rebounds, obviously, you know, looking at rebounds, you know, Indiana Fever do rank a little bit worse when it comes to defending that. So that's why I would definitely focus a little bit more on points and assists due to those reasons. Now, looking at Natasha Cloud and her last, you know, 5 games, she's definitely put up some big numbers from time to time. When we look at her matchup against Golden State Valkyries, had 7 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and also 2 steals there. Then on the 31st, faced off against Washington Mystics, had an 85-63 victory, 0 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. After that, faced off against Connecticut with 152 wins, so absolute, you know, mayhem in that matchup. Had 8 points, 2 rebounds, and 7 assists, and 1 steal. Then next from that, we also saw against Washington Mystics again, 86-78 victory, had 30 minutes and 4 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, and also 3 steals there. Moving on from that, we saw against Chicago Sky, 85-66 victory, had 5 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. So we have seen, you know, Natasha Cloud do well in some games and not too well in others, but coming into this matchup, we do very much still like the under for this situation, but like I mentioned, strictly just for points and assists. Now, a big reason being for this is that when it comes to Natasha Cloud, you know, yes, she is a great player, but she doesn't have the highest usage rate as well for this New York Liberty team. That's a big reason why we do very much like the under. We think other players in this Liberty team are definitely going to have a little bit more usage rate out there on the floor, and we definitely see that, you know, playing into it, no doubt about it. Now, looking at Natasha Cloud as well, we also do notice that this New York Liberty Indiana Fever game, although both teams are pretty fast-paced, we are expecting, you know, a little bit of a decent, nothing really too fast pace as many people may be expected. So coming into this one, we still do very much like, you know, the under for this situation. So keep an eye for Natasha Cloud. Like I mentioned, points and assists is definitely where you want to focus on. I think that's where a lot of the actual, you know, focus should be on, as Indiana Fever do rank better in both of those categories. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the under for Natasha Cloud in points and assists. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about none other than actually Ezi Magbegor. As you all know, Ezi is a great player for none other than Seattle Storm, and Seattle Storm has definitely had themselves a very interesting, I would say, start to the season. Now, looking at Seattle Storm and also Ezi, we have seen her average 7.4 points, 8 rebounds, 2.2 assists, and 0.2 steals. So she definitely has done a fantastic job, no doubt about it. Now, coming into this matchup, we do see that Ezi and Seattle Storm face off against Golden State Valkyrie. So it is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams. Now, looking at someone or a team, like, Seattle and also Golden State, we do see Seattle Storm have had a decent start, but can definitely still do a little bit better, where they've had 6 wins, 4 losses, and ranks them 5th in the WNBA. Now, they have a 60% win percentage. They are 4-2 at home and 2-2 in away. They currently are, however, on a 3-game win streak, so it's definitely something, to take into consideration there. But when we look further, we also see them face off against Golden State Valkyries. Now, Golden State Valkyries, very interesting, sort of situation here, because they find themselves in the 8th spot with 4 wins and 5 losses. So somewhat close-ish when it comes to their record. Now, Valkyries do actually have a 44.4% win percentage. They also have a 2-2 home record and 2-3 away record. So it's definitely been interesting there. Now, obviously, looking at Ezi Magbegor and the matchup against the Valkyries, we do see that Valkyries do actually rank 8th when it comes to points allowed. I also rank 7th when it comes to assists allowed and 7th when it comes to rebounds allowed. So it's definitely been interesting there. Now, looking at this matchup, we definitely have seen that, Ezi Magbegor has definitely done a decent job. Now, she doesn't have the highest usage rate in this team, but still coming into this matchup, we do definitely still see her going on the over in these situations, but I would strictly focus more on rebounds. Now, a big reason being, and also, another big case for it, is that Golden State Valkyries actually not only do a poor job at restricting rebounds, but they also do a very poor job at restricting rebounds to the forward position. And that's where we see someone, like Ezi being able to take advantage of this and going on the over in a situation like this. Now, Ezi Magbegor is a great player, and her highest usage rate, I definitely would say, is, that rebounding line. So that's a big reason why we are more honed in and focused in more on rebounds than any other category there. Now, looking at her last 5 games, she's definitely had some pretty, big games in the past. But looking at them, we see that again on the 31st against ATL, actually had a 94-87 loss, 8 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists there. After that, faced off again on the 2nd against, Las Vegas Aces at a 75-70 loss, 7 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists there. After that, on the 4th against Dallas Wings, had an 83-77 victory. She had 9 points, 7 rebounds, and also 3 assists there. After that, against Phoenix, actually had an 89-77 victory with 25 minutes of play, had 4 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist. And then against Minnesota after that with a 94-84 win, which actually gave them their first loss, and at 13 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist there. So we definitely have seen someone like Ezi Magbegor do a great job, in all sort of facets of the game. She's definitely been a very big asset at times, but where I do believe her usage usually does lie is definitely in that rebounding category. So that's why I've always honed in and focused in more on her rebounding category than anything else. I definitely still see her going on the over in this situation due to someone like Ezi having just such a high usage rate in that department. And for someone like Golden State Valkyries, who do a poor job defensively in general and also do a poor job defensively, especially to the forward position, we definitely see someone like Ezi, really struggling here and actually going on the over and taking advantage of that. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Ezi Magbegor for the over, especially or specifically for that rebounding category, because we've actually seen her average 8.6 points, 1.9 rebounds, 2.8 assists, while also getting 0.6 steals. So, she has done a fantastic job for this team. We definitely have seen her do a great job there. Now, when it comes to this matchup, obviously, Minnesota Lynx do face off against Los Angeles Sparks, as we all know. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting battle between both of these teams, but what we do see, just to quickly reiterate, Los Angeles Sparks do rank when it comes to the WNBA. They do actually rank 10th, so they rank 10th And on top of that, they also have a 4-7 record. And then Minnesota Lynx on the other side have 9-1. So 9 wins, 1 loss, 90% win rate. So definitely a big difference there. Now, coming into this game, it's definitely going to be an interesting one. But looking at Natisha Hiedeman, we do know she has a decent usage rate. And looking more closely at Minnesota Lynx, we do see that they face off against the Sparks. And Sparks defensively do have a 10 or do rank 10th when it comes to points allowed. They also rank when it comes to assists allowed, they rank 9th, and then rebounds allowed, the Sparks rank 6th. So they do rank a little bit better in that category. But when it comes to someone like Natisha, we do actually like the over for this situation here, but strictly just for points. Now, a reason being is that her usage rate really does remain very high in that points segment. So that's a really big reason why we do very much like, you know, the over for this situation, strictly just for that points sort of category. Now, looking at Sparks as well, we do know that they do struggle very much when it comes to restricting points to the actual, you know, guard position, and that's definitely where we see them struggle. So that's why we do very much like the over for this situation like this. Now, looking at Natisha Hiedeman, especially in her last 5 games, we definitely have seen her play some pretty big games. But looking more closely, we see that on the 31st, faced off against Phoenix. Now, we actually saw, you know, them win 74-71, had 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists there. On the 2nd of the next month, we actually saw them face off against Golden State Valkyries, which, you know, is a very interesting matchup because they won 86-75. She had 8 points, 0 rebounds, and 4 assists there. Then faced off against Phoenix again on the 4th with an 88-65 victory, had 18 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. After that, on the 9th, faced off against Dallas, had 9 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. Then on the 12th, against Seattle Storm, had 7 points, 1 rebound, and 5 assists there. So we definitely have seen her do very well at times. Other games have just slightly missed her line, but that's a big reason why we do very much like the over for this situation here. What we have seen time and time again is that when it actually comes to someone like Natisha, her usage rate in the points department, whether it's a good team or a bad team, still remains very good, very high at times, which is what we like to see, and that's a big reason why we do very much like the over for a situation like this. Now, coming into this game, obviously Minnesota Lynx are looking to try to make their record 10-1, but coming into this matchup, I think Natisha is definitely going to play a huge factor as she is a guard, and Sparks really do very much struggle against the guard. So we definitely can still see her take advantage of this and be able to go on the over there. So keep an eye out for her line, and as I always mention, if the line is below her averages, then definitely look to go on the over.